Today we're going to take a look at the Artist Loft 120 GSM Premium Bullet Journal. The last Artist Loft journal we looked at was the 100 GSM, and this just wasn't premium, I guess. I believe there's about a $5 price difference between the two. And just in my preliminary glance, if you can swing it, I would get the premium. And so now let's talk about why. So this is 120 GSM, which means the pages are a little bit thicker. This journal has 180 pages, so that's a little bit less than the other journals, but that's because of the paper thickness. And this journal is 6 inches by 8 inches, so it's a little bigger, a little wider and longer than some of the other bullet journals we've looked at. Okay, the cover is actually quite nice. It's soft and shiny, so that's fine. It has elastic closure. It has a pen loop and it has 2 bookmarks. Looking inside the journal itself, the pages are bright white. There is a pocket. There are a few blank pages, which I thought was cool. And then 3 test pages, sorry. And it does have a contents page as well. The pages are numbered. They do take up a little bit of block space, but not that bad. Another big difference for me, at least, is that these margins are even. I found in the 100 GSM, the margins weren't even at all. But in this 120 GSM notebook, the margins are even throughout the book. The dot grid is 29 boxes across by 38 boxes down. It says that the journal is ink-proof and acid-free. So we're going to take a look now and do our pen test. Again, it's going to be the same as always. So sit tight and let's see how it holds up. There was quite a bit of smudging. The flare, the gel pen, the fountain pen, the pen towel, the mild liner, the friction, the Tombow, the jelly, and the acrylograph. The acrylograph will need a lot of time to dry as well as the jelly, but the other items will just need a minute or two to dry. We have our pencil crayon, we have our watercolor ink, then I used not very heavily saturated watercolor paint, and then this is heavily saturated. It's already dry. Our dye ink, our pigment ink, and our solvent ink. Our pigment ink and solvent ink smudged and the dye ink didn't, but let's take a look and see how they did. Okay, so the Sharpie bled through. Again, this is alcohol based, so not a surprise. Okay, it held up to the watercolor pretty well. There is some warping of the page, but not bad overall. The dye ink is bleeding through, but otherwise the dye ink, pigment ink, and the solvent ink are all ghosting. The pen towel, the Crayola, and I believe this is the Micron, are all ghosting. The fountain pen is starting to bleed through, as well as the Crayola where I colored in the block. But otherwise, it's not bad. It held up pretty well. Of all the journals we've reviewed so far, this one's probably the most comparable to the Clever Fox 120 GSM. I will say that if you can manage it, definitely get the premium over the regular 100 GSM notebook. For sure, the paper thickness isn't quite as thick as you'd expect. And I know there are a few less pages, but the quality is just way better and the consistency is just way better. But anyways, I digress. That's another video for later. But I hope you enjoyed today's review, and next week we will carry on. I swear we're getting close to the end, and then I'll be able to do some more fun content for you. But thank you for watching today.